Okay, welcome again to another exciting time with Mr. Jeremiah Ajali, and we'll be looking at mathematics again. My focus is to make sure that before you write Jamb, you get grounded and founded in your knowledge in mathematics. Don't forget, we're looking at the means for you to score over 300 in your Jamb. Excuse me, I'm just excited this day. So we're looking for a means for you to score over 300 in your Jamb. And don't forget, for you to do this, you need to get an average of 75 in each of your subjects, because 75 times 4 is 300. For you to get 75 over 100 in each of your subjects, it's possible. All what you need to do is to study. You need to study, you need to study, you need to study. Okay. Subsequent videos, I've been looking at various topics in mathematics. Right now we are at polynomials. We have gone through much. We have gone through indices, logarithm, quadratic equation, variation, sorts. We have gone through much. You can go through my channels to get those videos and watch them over and over and over. Please, as you watch those videos, as you watch these videos, make sure you participate. Use your pause button. Stop me at a time. Solve on your own. Don't just watch like you're watching an action movie. No, use your pause button, write along, solve along, follow, nod when you need to nod, answer me when I ask you questions. Okay, that is the way to learn. You need to participate. Don't be a spectator, be a participator. Okay, so they'll be looking at polynomials. Now, polynomials are expressions with ascending or descending powers of variables. They are expressions with ascending or descending powers of variables. What I mean is that if you have an expression of this form, 3x raised to power 4 minus 2x raised to power 3 plus 5x raised to power 2 plus 6x minus 2. This is a polynomial expression, okay? With this has descending powers of variables from 4 to 3 to 2 to 1, as the case might be. So this is a polynomial expression. If I put an equal to, it becomes a polynomial equation. Now, for you to solve polynomials, you need to know basically how to add and subtract polynomials. Then you need to know how to divide and multiply polynomials. Then the next thing you need to know what is called factor theory and remainder theory. Okay, factor and remainder theorem. You need to know these, factor and remainder theorem. Then the last thing you need to know is factorization of polynomials. Factorization of polynomials. Okay, of polynomials. If you know these under polynomials, you know everything under them. Just 1, 2, 3, 4 things. You see, mathematics, you can easily count. That's why I love maths. You can count 4 things, and that's all you need to know under polynomials, and we are out from here. So we're going to take them one after the other. Please brace up. It's getting interesting here. Okay, it's getting more interesting. Okay, let's look at the first of them, which is addition and subtraction of polynomials. If you have a polynomial p and it is 5x squared plus 3x raised to power 4 plus 4x raised to power 5, okay, and you have a polynomial q and it is 3x squared minus 4x raised to power 4 plus 2x raised to power 3 plus 2x raised to power 3 minus 3x raised to power 5. If these are the polynomials and you want to add these polynomials, you want to add q, p and q together, I want to add this two. Now you can only add similar terms having the same variables as s. What I mean is that you can only add s squared to s squared, s power 4 to s raised to power 4, s power 5 to s power 5. Okay, so you take this two, is going to give you 8x squared, okay, raised to power 4. You take this 2, it's going to give you minus x raised to power 4, okay. Now this raised to power 5 raised to power 5. You take this, it's going to give you s raised to power 5, okay, then plus 2s raised to power 3, okay. If we rearrange, we have 8x squared plus 2x raised to power 3, okay, minus s raised to power 4 plus x raised to power 5. Okay, so you have added them. Now if you want to subtract the same way, p of x minus q of x is going to give us, to subtract, you just simply say this minus this. Now we're subtracting, so x squared to x squared, this minus this, since it's p minus q, not the other way, not q minus p, it's this minus this. So 5x squared minus this is going to give us 2x squared. Okay, that's all for x squared. For raised to power 4, this minus this minus this, so this is going to be plus. Now this minus minus plus, so this plus this is 7 x raised to power 4, okay, then 0 0 0 to this 0 of x raised to power 3 minus this is going to give you minus 2x raised to power 3, then this to this minus this, so it becomes this plus this, and that is 7x raised to power 5. So we have 2x squared plus 7x raised to power 4 minus 2x raised to power 3 plus 7x raised to power 5. Okay, so if we rearrange, we'll be having 2x squared minus 2x raised to power 3, okay, plus 7x raised to power 4, okay, plus 7x raised to power 5. Okay, if we arrange, that's what we'll be getting. Okay, so that's just how to add and subtract polynomials. Add similar x terms, okay, add similar x terms and you get that. Okay, that's how to add and how to subtract polynomials. Okay, now to multiply and divide polynomials is also easy. Take for instance, if we have a polynomial, p of s is equal to x plus 2 and q of x is equal to 3x raised to power 4 minus 2x raised to power 3 plus 5x raised to power 2 plus 2, and we're told to multiply this polynomial. We want to find the products of this polynomial. Want to find the product of this polynomial. Okay, this times this is going to be x plus 2 times this 3x raised to power 4 minus 2x raised to power 3 plus 5x squared plus 2. Please repeat after me, follow me, say those numbers so it gets into your head. Okay, so the multiply, you say this times everything here, then this times everything here. Okay, so we'll say this times everything here. This times this gives us 3x raised to power 5. This times this gives us minus 2x raised to power 4. This times this gives us 5x raised to power 3. This times this gives us what? 2x. Then we'll go with this. This times this is what? 6x raised to power 4. This times this is what? Minus 4x raised to power 3. This times this is plus 10x squared. Then this times this is plus 4. So we add and subtract similar terms. This is raised to power 5. Okay, so we take that 3x raised to power 5. Then we are the raised to power 4s. We have a raised to power 4 here and a raised to power 4 here. Taking this guy out is this already. So this to this raised to power 4s minus 2 plus 6 is plus 4s raised to power 4. Okay, then raised to power 3s, this to this. So this gives you what? S raised to power 3. This is gone. Then this is squared, 10x squared. Then this 2s, then plus 4. So that's the product. That's the product. That's the product. That's the product of that polynomial. Is a product of that polynomial. Okay, so let's dive immediately into solving questions. Now this question says we should divide on that division of polynomials, divide x raised to power 3, divide x raised to power 3 plus 3x squared minus 4x plus 2 by x minus 1. Okay, divide this by this. Now, to do division in polynomials, you use long division. You rule a line. Okay, now this guy, x raised to the power 3 plus 3x squared minus 4x plus 2 goes there. Then this guy, which is x minus 1, comes here. You want to divide this using this. Now, this guy here, this expression here, this guy is called the dividend. Okay, it's called the dividend. This is called the dividend in mathematics. Dividend. And of course, this is the guy that we are using to divide, so we'll call it the divisor. It's called the divisor. Okay, then the answer we'll get, we'll call it the quotient. What we'll divide, we'll have an answer here, we'll call it the quotient. Call it the quotient. Then if anything is remaining, we'll call it the remainder. We'll call it the remainder. If anything is remaining, we'll call it the remainder. Okay, now what it simply means, if I say 9 divided by 4, okay, and you do this, you say 4, 9. Now this 4 is called the what? The divisor. So this is the divisor. 9 is called the what? The dividend. 9 is called the dividend. Okay, you now say 4 into 9, you have 2. This time this 8, you subtract, you have 1. This 2, which is your answer, is called your quotient. This is the quotient. This is the quotient. Then this one left here is called the remainder. Okay, very simple as that. So you need to know those terms: the dividend, the divisor, the quotient, and the remainder. The dividend, the divisor, the quotient, and the remainder. Sounded like music, so my ears are ready. Okay, so let's see how to divide. You would divide similarly like we just did this. It's the same process, the same process, the same process. So if you can do this short division here, you can do this long one here. So we say this x raised to the power 3 plus 3x squared minus 4x plus 2 x minus 1. So we take this, say x into this. So x raised to the power 3 over x. This cancels 1. You're left with x raised to the power 2. So x into this gives us s raised to the power 2. Okay. You will now take this to multiply this. S times this is s raised to the power 3. S times this is what? Minus x squared. Okay. You now subtract. On subtracting, this takes care of this. You are left with this minus this, which is this plus this. This is 1. We can do this because this is x squared, s squared. So 3 plus 1 is going to give me 4x squared. What's left here? Minus 4x plus 2. Okay. Okay. Then we'll now start the process all over again. We'll say x into this. 4x squared over x, it cancels 1x, you're left with 4x. So x into this gives us plus 4x. Okay, then you now use it to multiply everything again. Say this times this, 4x squared. Say this times this, minus 4x. You subtract again, this cancels this. Then you have minus this, minus is plus. So minus 4x plus 4x gives us 0. We're left with 2 here. Okay, now this cannot go again, so this is the remainder, this is the remainder, this is the remainder, and this is the quotient, which is the answer. Okay, so the expression, this divided by this, which is x raised to the power 3 plus 3x squared minus 4x plus 2 divided by x minus 1. It's giving us, what did we get? X raised to the power 2 plus 4x, which is this, but we still have 2 remaining that is still being divided by this x minus 1. Okay, so that's the answer. Okay. Woo! So let's just go straight into solving questions in polynomials, other questions. Look at this question. It says divide x raised to power 3 plus 7x squared minus x minus 7, we should divide it by minus 1 plus x squared. Okay, we're expected to divide this by that. Now this is the same as x squared minus 1. Okay, so want to divide, you draw your sign. You have x raised to power 3 plus 7x squared minus x minus 7 being divided by this. So we go x squared into this, x raised to power 3 over x squared. The 2x here cancels 2x here, so you are left with x. So x is left. X times this is x raised to power 3, and this times this is going to give you minus x. So we put it under minus x, so we can easily subtract them. So minus this cancels this, we're left with 7x squared, okay, minus s, minus s is minus s plus s, and that's 0, minus 7. Okay, so we go again. X squared into this is going to give us 7. 7 times this is 7x squared. 7 times this is going to give us minus 7. So you minus again, this gives us 0, and that's 0. So this divided by this is simply x plus 7. Okay, you have x plus 7. Now you will notice that when we did this division, we had 0 as the remainder. The division we just did before now, 0 was not the remainder. When you have 0 as the remainder, as in this case, it simply means that this divisor is a factor of this. What it means is that this divisor divides this perfectly without remainder. So this is a factor of this. Okay, that is where the factor theorem comes in. So I've seen how to add and how to subtract polynomials, how to multiply and how to divide polynomials. Let's look at factor and remainder theorem. Okay, very interesting theorems. Remainder and factor theorem. Remainder and factor theorem. For me to explain this these two theorems to you, I need to use an example. I think that would be the best way for us. So look at this question. It says find the remainder when 3x raised to power 3 plus x squared plus 24 is divided by x plus 2. Okay, find the remainder when this is divided by this. Now you can actually use a long division, and this being the divisor, this being the dividend, and you get a quotient and a remainder, and that's what they need, the remainder. You can actually use long division to solve this. Okay, but remainder's theorem will make it faster. Remainder's theorem says that if this divisor is equated to 0, meaning that if x plus 2 is equal to 0, so x from here is equal to minus 2, that if you substitute x equals to minus 2 into this dividend, whatsoever value you have is the remainder. I repeat, remainder's theorem says if you take the divisor, which is this, equate it to 0 such that you have a solution, x equals to minus 2. If you substitute x equals to minus 2 into this dividend, whatsoever value you have is the remainder. That's remainder theorem. For factor theorem, when you substitute this value of s into this, you will be getting 0, because the remainder will be 0 for factor theorem. Okay, so for factor theorem, when you substitute, you get 0. But for remainder theorem, when you substitute, you get a value. So for us to get the remainder, we'll just have to substitute x equals to -2 here, and we'll get the remainder when you divide this with this. Okay, so when x equal to -2, let's put it here to be 3 into -2 raised to power 3 plus -2 raised to power 2 plus 24. Okay, this is 3 into, this is -8, this is +4, this is +24, and this to this gives us -24 plus 4 plus 24, and that is 4. So the remainder when this is divided by this is 4. Okay, so that's remainder theorem and factor theorem. Equate the divisor to 0 such that you have a solution for x. Take that solution and substitute it into the dividend. If you get a 0, it means it is a factor. If you get another number, it means you have remainder. Okay, next question. It says find the values of a and b if the expression x raised to power 3 plus ax squared plus bx minus 4 is exactly divisible by x squared minus 4. Okay, find the values of a and b if this expression is exactly divisible by this. Okay, what it means is that if you use this to divide this, there will be no remainder. So we're talking about factor theorem here. The remainder will be 0. That's why they use the word exactly. We're talking about factor theorem here. So if this is a factor of this, it means for x squared minus 4, if we equate this to 0, that this is difference of 2 square, x plus 2 x minus 2, excuse me, is equal to 0. So x here is -2 or 2. That x equals to -2 or x equal to 0 will be solutions to this expression. So if we equate when s is equal to -2, put it here, and when it's equal to 2, put it here, we'll be solving this expression. So when s is equals to -2, put it here, we're having -2 raised to power 3 plus a, this is -2 squared, plus b into -2, s is -2, minus 4. It will give you 0. It's a factor, it's a solution, so it will give you 0. It will give you 0. If it were remainder theorem, when you equate it will give you the remainder. Okay, but since this is a factor, when you equate it will give you 0. Okay, so this is going to be minus a, is going to be plus 4a, is going to be minus 2b minus 4 is equal to 0. Okay, this is 4a minus 2b minus 12 is equal to 0. 4a minus 2b is equal to 12. Divide through with 2, we're having 2a minus b is equal to 6. This is equation 1. Okay, we'll now do for the next case when x is equal to 2. We have done for this case when x equals to -2. So we'll do for now when s is equal to 2. So when s is equal to 2, we'll substitute it here. We'll be having s, which is 2 raised to power 3, plus a s, which is 2 squared, plus b s minus 4 is equal to 0. This is 8 plus 4a plus 2b minus 4 is equal to 0. So this is 4a plus 2b. This to this gives you plus 4 is equal to 0. 4a plus 2b is equal to -4. Divide through by 2, you'll be having 2a plus b is equal to -2. This is equation 2. Okay, so if we take both equations to solve, 2a plus b is equal to -2. I'll solve simultaneously. If I add this 2, we cancel. This is 4a is equal to, if you add this, you'll be having 4. So a is equal to 1. Okay, if we substitute into equation 1, we'll be having 2a is 1, minus b is equal to 6. This is 2 minus b is equal to 6, meaning that b is minus 4. Okay, b is minus 4. So when a is equal to 1, b is equal to minus 4. Those are the values for a and b. Those are the values for a and b. Okay, the next question is saying if x plus 2 and x minus 1 are factors of the expression p x raised to the power 3 plus 2q x squared plus 24, says the values of p and q are okay. Now for these to be factors, for these two to be factors of this, it means when you substitute their corresponding solutions of s into this, it will give you 0. Factor theorem. So when x plus 2 is equal to 0, x is equal to minus 2, then for this case, when x minus 1 is equal to 0, x is equal to 1. So if we substitute these values into this, we'll be having, when s is minus 2, put it here, we're having p minus 2 raised to the power 3 plus 2q minus 2 squared plus 24 is equal to 0. Okay, then when s is equal to 1, substitute here, we're having p 1 raised to the power 3 plus 2q 1 squared plus 24 is equal to 0. Okay, so this is minus 8p, this is 4 plus 8q plus 24 is equal to 0. Then this is p plus, this is 2q plus 24 is equal to 0. Okay, so p plus 2q is equal to minus 24. Let's call this equation 2. Then from here, 8p plus minus 8p plus 8q is equal to minus 24. Okay, 8 is common here, so minus p plus q is equal to minus 3. Call this equation 1. Okay, so if I bring equation 1 here, so I can solve simultaneously, minus p plus q is equal to minus 3. This equation 1. Looking here, if we add this two, we cancel, so we add this, 3q is equal to, we'll add this, minus 27. So q is equal to what now? Divide, minus 9. So q is equal to minus 9. When q is equal to minus 9, we need to get the corresponding value for p. So if we substitute into equation 1, q is minus 9. So minus p minus 9 minus p minus 9 minus p minus 9 is equal to minus 3. Minus p minus 9 is equal to minus 3. Taking this over, minus p is equal to minus 3 plus 9. So minus p is equal to, this is 6, meaning that p is equal to minus 6. Okay, so the corresponding values of p and q is when p is minus 6, q is minus 9. Okay, so those are the values for p and q. Next question, it says if s minus 2 and s plus 1 are factors of s raised to the power 3 minus 3x minus 2 is equal to 0, find the third factor. Find the third factor. Okay, if these and these are factors of this, look for the third factor so that when you multiply the three factors, you get this. Okay, the easy way to do this, there are I think there should be about at least 2 ways to do this. One of the ways to multiply this to this, Okay, you get a quadratic equation, then use that quadratic equation to divide this. You get the third factor. Okay, but the easiest way to do this is, since you have x minus 2 multiplying x plus 1, the third factor will be in the form a plus b, because you need these three to give you s raised to power 3 value here. So the third factor, let's assume the third factor to be a plus b. Okay, so we say third factor is equal to a plus b. That's what we're trying to get. So if you multiply these three factors, you're going to get x raised to power 3 minus 3x minus 2. Okay, so if you look critically, the only way you can get s raised to power 3 here is when you multiply this to this to this, the x values. So if you multiply this, it should give you this term. So if you multiply this, s times s, x squared times this will give us 2x squared. S times s, s squared plus a times a will give us ax squared. X squared, ax squared is equal to x raised to power 3. So if we cancel, a here will give us s. So a is s. The first value here is s. Okay. Then the other way to get this constant is to multiply the constant values, which is this to this to this. Okay. So minus 2 times 1 is what? Minus 2. Minus 2 times b is what? Minus 2b is equal to minus 2. So if you cancel here, you see that b is equal to 1. Okay, so it means that the factor a plus b is going to give us a is s and b is 1. So that's the third factor. If you multiply this, this, and this, you'll get this. If you multiply those three factors together, you get that. Okay. The next question is saying factorize 3x raised to power 3 plus 4x squared minus 13x plus 6 completely, given that x minus 1 is a factor. Okay, given that x minus 1 is a factor. Now in solving this, you have to divide such that you have the quadratic equation, and you solve the quadratic equation to get the other two factors. So if we do long division, okay, if this is a factor, it means when we divide, we're going to get 0 as the remainder, plus 4x squared minus 13x plus 6. If we divide this, if we use this to divide this, we'll be getting 0 as the remainder, since this is a factor. Okay, and we want to factorize it. We're told that it's a factor. Okay, so x into this gives us 3x squared. This times this gives us 3x raised to power 3. This times this gives us what? Minus 3x squared. Okay, subtract, this goes, this minus minus, this is plus, so you have 7x squared minus 13x plus 6. Okay, 7x squared minus 13x plus 6. X into this gives us plus 7x. You multiply now. 7x squared minus 7x. So subtract again. This goes minus 13 plus 7. Minus 13 plus 7 gives us minus 6x plus 6. Okay, this into this now gives us minus 6. Okay, minus 6 times this gives us minus 6x, minus 6 times this gives us plus 6. Subtract again, you have 0. I told you, since it's a factor, the remainder will be 0. It will divide completely. It will divide completely. Okay, it will divide completely. Now, for us to get the other two factors, we need to factorize this quadratic equation. So for 3x squared plus 7x minus 6, this is minus 18x squared. 9 times 2 is that, and I need minus, so if I put it here, this times this is this, this plus this is this. Okay, so this is 3x squared plus 9x minus 2x minus 6. So we group 3x, x is left plus 3, minus 2x plus 3. These two brackets must be the same. Factorization method, we've covered that. So this, you take 1, 3x minus 2, you take this to outside. So this is the factorized of this. So the factors, 3x raised to the power 3 plus 4x raised to the power 2 minus 13x plus 6, which is this, it's going to give us this factor, s minus 1 times s plus 3 times 3x minus 2. So to factorize this completely, this is equal to this. Okay. Now the next question is saying we should solve the equation. S raised to the power 3 minus 5x squared minus x plus 5 is equal to 0. We should solve this equation, meaning that we should factorize this equation. Okay, when we factorize, we can easily solve it. Now, for you to know values of s that you substitute to give you 0, value of s you need to put here to give you 0, you look at this constant term here. The constant term in this case is 5. So factors of this constant term, which is 5, will give you a clue of numbers such that when you substitute, will make this expression 0. So factors of 5, you have 1 and 5. So we can start by trying when x is 1 to see if this will give us 0. This case is trial by error. You try to see if you will get it. If you try 1, you don't get 0. You try for minus 1. You now try for 5. You try for minus 5. One of them must give you the expression will make it 0. One of them will make the expression 0. So let's say when x is equal to 1. So if x is equal to 1, put it here. You're having 1 raised to the power 3 minus 5, 1 squared minus 1 plus 5. Okay, so this is 1, this is minus 5, minus 1 plus 5. Okay, minus 6 plus 6, 0. So it means when s is equal to 1 is one of the solution to this expression. Okay, so if s equal to 1 is one of the solution, you can actually keep on by trying another value. Since this is you have 4 options there, you can easily do that. It's different from if this was to be 12. We'll be having so much options here. We'll be having 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. But since there are only 4 values here, you can easily just try, or you use the normal method, which is you now divide. Since this is a solution, it means that s minus 1 is a factor. Taking x over x minus 1 is a factor. So if we use x minus 1 to divide that, x minus 1 to divide this, s raised to the power 3 minus 5x squared minus x plus 5, we'll be getting the other quadratic equation that will give us the other 2 factors. Okay, so let's divide. X into this gives us x squared. This times this, x raised to the power 3. This times this, minus x squared. We subtract. This cancels this. Minus 5 minus this is minus 5 plus this, that's minus 4 x squared minus x minus 5. So this into this gives us minus 4x. This times this gives us minus 4x. This times this is plus 4x. Okay, we'll subtract again. Minus will give you minus plus. This goes minus 1 minus 4 is minus 5x. Then bring down this 5. This into this gives us minus 5. This times this gives us minus 5x, and this times this gives us okay, this is plus. This times this gives us plus 5. This is plus here, so plus here and plus here. Okay, so subtract this gives us 0, showing that this is a factor of this. So the other 2 factors are here, x squared minus 4x minus 5. So let's factorize. Well, we're having minus 5x squared, 5 times 1. For us to get minus, you put it here. This times this is this plus this is this. So
x squared minus 5x plus 1x, which is x minus 5. We'll take this, we take this. So x squared, x is common here. Bring out x, you'll be left with x here. X from here gives you minus 5. And 1 is common here, x minus 5. Take one of this, x minus 5, okay? And take one of this, s plus 1. So these two are the other factors of this expression. So since there are also factors is equal to 0, meaning that x is equal to 5 for this, or x is equal to minus 1, are also solutions to this polynomial. So the solutions are x equal to, that's the first, 1 or minus 1 or 5. Okay, those are the solutions to that polynomial. Okay, the other question says if one factor of s raised to the power 3 minus 8 raised to the power minus 1 is x minus 2 raised to the power minus 1, then the other factor is what? Okay, if this is one of the factors of this, then what is the other factor? Okay, now if you look critically, this s raised to the power 3 minus 8 raised to the power minus 1 is same thing as s raised to the power 3 minus 8 raised to the power minus 1 is 1 over 8. Okay, so it's same thing as s raised to the power 3. This is same thing as what? 1 over 2 raised to the power 3. Okay, and if you look critically, this looks like alpha cube minus beta cube, which we did in quadratic equations. This looks like alpha cube minus beta cube. So we can use alpha cube minus beta cube to simplify this expression. Okay, just note that this is the same as this. Okay, now for this factor, x minus 2 raised to the power minus 1 is the same as what? S 2 raised to the power minus 1 is what? Is half. So this is one of the factors of this. So let's try to expand this using alpha cube minus beta cube. Now remember, alpha cube minus beta cube is what? Alpha minus beta into alpha plus beta squared minus alpha beta. Okay, this is standard expression. You just need to know it from we have covered this under quadratic equation. If you didn't go through that video, please go through it, very important. So if alpha cube minus beta cube is this, and I want to now get this, s raised to power 3 minus half raised to power 3, by comparison it means alpha is what? X, and beta is what? 1 over 2. So it means anywhere I see alpha, I should put x. Anywhere I see beta, I should put 1 over 2. Anywhere I see alpha, I should put x. Anywhere I see beta, I should put 1 over 2. Anywhere I see alpha, I should put x. Anywhere I see beta, I should put 1 over 2. Okay, so let's simplify. X minus 1 over 2 multiplying x plus 1 over 2 squared minus x over 2. Okay, which is x minus 1 over 2. Let's expand this bracket. Let's expand. Remember how to expand quickly. You square the first term, x squared, 2 times this times this. 2 times half is 1. 1 times that gives you s. Then square this term, 1 over 4. Then minus x over 2. Okay, we can combine these two. X minus half of x is going to give us x minus 1 over 2 into x squared. This is 1x minus this is going to give you half of x. Okay, plus 1 over 4. Okay, now s raised to power 3 minus 1 over 2 raised to power 3 has been expanded to give us this. And as you can see, this is a factor of this, which the question rightly said. It said that this, which is same thing as this. You remember I said this is this. So this is a factor of this, so this is the other factor. So the other factor is x squared plus x over 2 plus 1 over 4. That's the other factor. Okay. We have about 4 more questions, and we'll be through with polynomials. Let's quickly go through that. This question says, if f of x is equal to 2x squared minus 5x plus 3, find f of x plus 1. If f of x is this, find f of x of 1. Now what it simply means is that if f of s is defined as this, f of s plus 1, when this s is now replaced with s plus 1, because this is f of s, so we're replacing s with s plus 1. So anywhere we see s now, we should put s plus 1. It's going to give us 2. S now is s plus 1 squared minus 5. S is what? S plus 1 plus 3. So that gives us 2. Into expand, x squared plus 2x plus 1 expand minus 5x minus 5 plus 3. Okay, so expand 2x squared plus 4x plus 2 minus 5x minus 5 plus 3. Okay, so x squared first, 2x squared, which is this. This to this gives us what? This to this gives us minus x. Okay, then this is 2 minus 5 is minus 3 plus 3 is 0. So it means f of x plus 1 is this. Okay. Oh, interesting. Now the next question is demanding. It says, if g of y is equal to y minus 3 over 11 plus 11 over y squared minus 9, that we should find g of y plus 3. Okay, g of y is this. We should now find g when y is now y plus 3. So g of y plus 3, it means y now is y plus 3. Anywhere I see y, I should put y plus 3. So in place of this y, we'll put y plus 3 minus this 3 over 11 plus 11 over y is what? Y plus 3, the squared, minus 9. So that gives us y. 3 minus 3 is 0, so we're left with y over 11 plus 11 over, let's expand, square the first term, y squared, 2 times this, 6y plus 9 minus 9. This is 0, so that is y over 11 plus 11 over y squared plus 6y. Now if you look critically, y is common here, so we can bring out y over 11 plus 11 over y into y plus 6. Okay, so g into y plus 3 is equal to this. Okay, the other question is saying, if a function is defined by, if a function is defined by f into x plus 1 is equal to 3x squared minus x plus 4. If this is equal to, this function is defined as this, we should find f of 0. We should find f of 0. Now, in this expression, f of x plus 1 has been expressed as f of 0. So it means that this should be this. So what it means is that s plus 1 should be equal to 0, meaning that s is equal to minus 1 is the s value that you have f of 0. So when s is equal to minus 1, I'll be able to have the function of 0. So anywhere I see s, put -1, so put -1 here. F of 0 becomes, put -1 here, 3 into -1 squared minus -1 plus 4. So that is 3 plus 1 plus 4, and that is 8. Okay, that is 8. This question, it says if f of x is equal to 2x minus 3 squared plus 3x minus 3 plus 4, and g of y is equal to square root of 5 plus y. It says we should find g f of 3, and also we should find f a function of g of 4. Okay, so we want to find this first, g a function of f of 3. So we need to first find f of 3, f a function of 3. So f a function of 3 is going to give me, I'll put, this is what I'm using now, f a function of 3. So s now is 3. So let's put 3 in this expression. We're having 2 into, put 3 here. 3 minus 3 is 0 squared plus s is 3. 3 into 3 minus 3 is 0 plus 4. This is 0. This is 0. So f a function of 3 is 4. Is 4. Okay. Now it means that this is 4. So g, in place of this, I can put 4, a function of 4. A function of 4. This has been reduced to this. So if you look critically, I'll use the g function, g a function of 4. So you can see in this case that y now is 4. So anyway I see y in this expression, we're using this now, this expression, I'll be putting 4. So it's going to give me square root of 5 plus y is 4. And that's square root of 9, and that is 3. Okay, so it means g f a function of 3 is going to give me 3. Okay, that's the first part. Then for this other part, we're supposed to get this. So we'll first get g of 4. G of 4 is going to give me g a function of 4. I'll use this expression since I'm talking about g. When y is 4, if you put 4 here, we're having square root of 9, and that is 3. So this is 3. So that's f a function of 3. F a function of 3. I'll use the f function now. It means s is 3. It means s is 3. So anywhere you see s, put 3. If you put 3 here, we'll be having 0 squared. So that's 0, it goes. You put 3 here, we'll be having 0 also. 3 minus 3 is 0, that goes. So you'll be left with 4. So it means f, a function of g, a function of 4, is equal to 4. Okay, so those are the two solutions to this and this. Okay, under polynomials, you might also be told to get the inverse of a function. It says, let's quickly look at that. Inverse of a function. Okay, inverse of a function. And considering this, let me just use a question directly. It says if f of x is equal to 3x plus 4. Don't forget that f of x is also y. You know, in mathematics, when you hear the word f of x, it's the same as y. So it's like that saying y is equal to this. If f of x is this, we should find the inverse of the function. We should look for the inverse of the function. Okay, now the simple way to look for inverse of a function is to represent this to be y. Y is equal to 3x plus 4. When you represent this to be y, you make s subject of formula from here. Just make s subject of formula. Making s subject of formula, you take this 4 over, you'll be having 3x is equal to what? Y minus 4. Then x becomes y minus 4 over 3. Okay, s becomes y minus 4 over 3. Now, when you make s subject of formula, you have inversed the function already. Okay, or what you just need to do is to replace this y here with x. So the inverse of function s, this function, will simply be, in place of this y, I put x minus 4 over 3. So that's the inverse function of this. So inverse of a function is very, very simple. Just make s the subject of formula. Make s the subject of, that's a simple way to do it. Make s the subject of formula. If you are given f of x is equal to 3 x squared plus 2, and we're told to find the inverse of the function, this is y is equal to 3x squared plus 2. Making s solve the formula, take this over. 3x squared is equal to y minus 2. So x squared is equal to y minus 2 over what? 3. So what is x? The square root of y minus 2 over 3. So the inverse of the function will now be, replace s minus 2 over 3 square root. So just remember, to find the inverse of a function, make s the subject of the formula. Okay, this is about an hour now. I hope you practiced along. Please don't forget that we are targeting 300 in your Jamb, and we said for this to be possible, you have to score an average of 75 in each of your subjects. So you have to read, you have to read at this level. You have to read at this level. Keep on reading, keep on studying until you can get this much. For now, avoid distractions and settle down to read. Okay, so we'll continue next time with the next video. um Thanks for the time. Bye.